about business people? Do we trust business people in order to do different things? Well, of course not. Smith writes, people of the same trade seldom meet together, even for merriment and diversion, but the conversation ends in a conspiracy against the public, or in some contrivance to raise prices. Now, you get business people together, even if it's for a social occasion. What do? They start talking about how they can raise prices and make more money. Later on, Smith wrote, the interest of dealers, however, in any particular branch of trade or manufactures is always in some respects different from and even opposite to the interest of the public. The proposal of any new law or regulation of commerce which comes from this order ought always to be listened to with great precaution, and ought never to be adopted until after having been long and carefully examined, not only with the most scrupulous, but with the most suspicious attention. It comes from an order of men whose interest is never exactly the same as the public, and who have generally an interest to deceive and even to oppress the public. And when you talk about mercantilists proposing rules for how they should look after their own businesses, Smith is deeply concerned that those people are going to be getting together and taking advantage of their situation over and over. He was equally uncertain about the untrustworthiness of government. Yeah, sure, he's willing to say government has a role to do all these different things that I listed off before, but in a number of places he points out how government can be wasteful in doing these things, can miss the point, can do them in the wrong ways. Smith, in all of these areas, just has a very human view of people. I think that in our politicized times, everyone who is an economist, you tend to say to those people, well, what side are you on? You're a Republican economist or a Democrat economist. Do you believe in the free market or don't you believe in the free market? And one of the ways in which Adam Smith is, I think, a model for economists is that he doesn't categorize that way. Sure, he writes about the division of labor, about self-interest, about the invisible hand, and all the power of markets, and the power of material things and how they're produced. On the other hand, he's very willing to admit difficulties, problems, where the government might enter in. Adam Smith is bluntly, breathtakingly honest about things. It's unsettling to read Smith, because you keep thinking, well, here's a real problem, and I'll bet, he's not going to face up to that. And, 300 pages later, after going through numerous digressions, he'll say, yep, this is a real problem, and we need to think about how to deal with it, and here's my proposal. I think that's fascinating. I think it's an example that more of us could kind of follow.